Trial and error is crucial to your growth as an artist. But then what happens when you share that trial and error in real time on social media? Well, as it turns out, people can be really mean. I offer art commissions on my website. And one of the pieces that I offer is that I paint people's stuffed animals. It's one of my favorite things to do. One, I love painting in general. I also love when I can create art that isn't for a book. I also love the fact that somebody is going to really cherish this painting of their stuffed animal. And things really get hopping ahead of the holidays. That's the busiest time of year for me for these art commissions. And every year, right before things really start to heat up with the very busy time of year, I offer a big discount for educators. And the librarian wrote me to thank me for offering the discount because she had been saving up for one of these stuffed animal portraits, and she always hoped to get one. And so she had this beloved stuffed animal of a penguin. And so a couple years ago, she took a photo of the penguin, some photo reference, for the day in which she would be able to order one of these art commissions from me. Now, shortly after she took those photos, her dog destroyed the beloved stuffed animal. She, of course, was crushed. However, she had this photo reference. And I, of course, was so touched by this whole story. So I painted her penguin and recorded the process. And I posted this video to social media. After I painted that penguin's portrait, I wasn't able to ship the painting right away because I had some book tour stuff I had to tend to. And when I came back from my trip, I just saw everything that I didn't like about the piece. And so I made this video and posted this video. Sometimes you finish up a painting and something just isn't right. And this is what I do. I turn it upside down on the easel and I leave. And I come back the next morning, and because it's upside down, I'm looking at it with fresh eyes. And with this one, I was realizing that I went too opaque with the background. So I'm going to thin that out some. I'm going to make the floor a bit bolder and brighter so that pops forward, throw in a few highlights. And my favorite part of the process is using acrylic gloss medium. I throw a coat over it, it dries, and gives this beautiful shine, making the colors so rich. Now, somehow, some way, the algorithm went nuts for this video and pushed it out to millions of folks. And the video is sitting at 4.5 million views right now. Of course, with 4.5 million views, not all of the comments are going to be nice. Some comments were super supportive. Some comments offered valid, constructive feedback. Some were just so mean.
This is just not a good painting, whatever way you look at it.
Sorry, but you have no talent, dude.
I don't like how it looks all together.
Looks like a middle schooler painted it.
Garbage.
And you do have to wonder why someone would take the time and energy to write mean comments when you could simply take your thumb and go to the next video. What so many people didn't recognize was this was a stuffed animal penguin. And so people were blasting me because they didn't think that the features were correct because they thought it was a real penguin. And so many comments said, oh, the feet are way too big. And yeah, that's a stuffed animal with really big feet. It's not a real penguin. Of the comments that offered constructive feedback, a lot of people pointed out that the shadow was incorrect. And I totally agree with them. So I fixed the shadow and I posted this video. I still haven't had a chance to ship this art commission out, and now, after not looking at the painting for a week, something still isn't quite right to me. So another thing that helps is holding up a mirror to my painting. And a few things I'm noticing. The shadow is just a bit off, and I also want to put a layer of a blue wash on all of the shadows to kind of tie it up all together. And, because this is a stuffed animal, like a decades-old, beat-up old stuffed animal, I'm going to add a little more texture in that tight-knit fur. And what else? You know what? Those feet, they need to be bigger. Of course, people would see the previous video and not that more recent video. So they would continue to write negative comments on that first video, which now I had another book tour trip, which again was good because I had time away from the painting. And I came back and I looked at it again, and there was so much I didn't like about the painting. So I made some edits and adjustments, and I made this and posted this video. What do you think? I painted this portrait of a stuffed animal for a client, and I just couldn't shake that something wasn't quite right. And not just because of all of the unsolicited feedback I received on my previous video. Some of those comments were super helpful. Some were just straight up mean. But after looking at the painting from different angles and keeping the reference photo a little bit closer, I completely rethought the colors and the textures. And I'm super happy with how it turned out. Did I improve the painting? Make it worse? Let me know. And with that, I was finally satisfied with the painting. And of course, Christmas was coming up, and I had to get the painting to the client who had ordered the painting. She was thrilled. I'm so happy to have immortalized her beloved stuffed animal in that painting. I'm glad that I had those moments in between where I had to not look at the painting and come back and assess. And it's so important to reassess your art as you're making it. And it can be difficult to know when to stop because you don't want to overwork your painting. So that painting is hanging on her wall in her home. Some of those penguin videos still continue to get a lot of views and some comments like this.
And you didn't realize them legs aren't right.
Of course, I'm a professional artist. I have a big platform. I really don't let those comments get under my skin. But I can't help but think of all of those young artists who do share their work online and have to contend with such negative comments. So if you're a young artist, make art, explore, have failures, have things that don't work out so well, keep making them. Remember, you don't have to share all of your art on social media. And if you are sharing your art on social media, remember that none of this is real life. And unfortunately, sometimes people can be terrible. But ultimately, the only person who has to like your art is you. An important thing for me to point out too is that the point of making a piece isn't to make the most perfect piece. It's to learn from the process of making that piece so that the next thing that you make gets a little bit better. And then you learn from that second piece. So the thing you make after that gets a little bit better, and so on and so forth. And your art will just continue to grow and grow and grow as you continue on. And ignore the noise as best you can.